Hello, Magic players. I am Triple C Magic, and I coming at you today with some relatively unique content so far as the Magic the Gathering community is considered. I really love this game of ours. I've been in it and about it for close to a decade now. Less time than many of you, but more time than many others, especially with that wonderful little advent of Magic Arena, just scooping in all kinds of players from all around the world. And what I love the most about our little game is this little box right here. I love the art of Magic. I think it is phenomenal. I think it's some of, if not the best art produced in all of gaming, and it has something that a lot of games don't have. It has history, it has meaning, it has impact. And I love that these cards, these little pieces of paper, can transcend just our ordinary valuing of things. It can be more than just a piece of paper. You can love all kinds of different aspects of Magic, whether you're a little tournament grinder, whether you're a Spike, whether you're a Timmy, whether you're a combo player, whether you just love the big spells in EDH, or whether you love winning on turn 3. There's something in this little game for each of us. But like I was saying, I love the art, but what I love the most about it is the customizability of it. Yes, for example, slivers are fantastic and wonderful. I think they're one of Wizards' best unique creatures, and I doubt I would be alone in saying that. They definitely beat out Bushwag in my mind. But what's given to us, or maybe not explicitly given, but kind of stated in there, is that this little box here can kind of be moved and manipulated around. I'm sure you've seen lots of content like this on the internet, and if you're coming over here, you probably are interested in how to do kind of some of it. Well, I'm kind of hoping to show and work and explore this in this show of ours, in Draw Go. I hope to kind of go over some of my methodologies, explain, and show that it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. I mean, it's harder than some, but you can make wonderful cards. You can make professional looking altars and proxies. And because we live in such a wonderful, vibrant, fandom-fueled time, this is like some of our peak stuff. And hey, if you don't want to do it, hopefully I'll be here to be your friend, to help you out. Just like I'm this guy's friend. Not this dude in general, the art here, but I have a friend of mine that I'll be showing you through a deck that we're working on together. Won't save that for now, because we already got the finished one. Bam! Essence Sliver, right here. It's for a deck of a buddy of mine, name is Dakota, and he has commissioned me to create a Sliver-themed Land of Illustrious deck. And this kind of thing is what I love to do. It's one of my favorite parts of Magic in general, that so many different little fandoms and so many different little personalities exist inside of it, that we get to have just wonderful perspectives and just wonderful people. And although I don't know as much about Land of Illustrious as some other custom cards that I'll be showing you guys later, I do know a little bit about it. And if anything else, I do know how to work with the Magic cards, how to work with arts, and how to make things mesh together in at least some kind of way. So I guess a little bit about his deck. He has a very unique commander deck where he has just jammed every single sliver in there. And what you might be thinking is, wait a minute, there's 106 slivers, you can only have 100 cards in commander, and you're not going to be able to cast any of them, they all cost more than 0 mana. Well, what he's done is he's made a pretty competent mana base, and then he just has a stack of all of the slivers that he shuffles up, dishes out, I believe, 60 of them, or 39, one for the commander, shuffles them together, and then bam, there's the deck. So we're going to take you through at least one of the creature creations today. We might speed this up later and just kind of go into each of the little individual bits. But the first thing to consider when creating a custom magic card is what you're trying to preserve, right? Are you trying to preserve the work of the fan artist? Or are you trying to preserve the feel of a magic card? We can kind of see this in the different versions of this vacuole sliver, for example. Let me just open those up real quickly for y'all. Alright, so in each of these different vacuole slivers, we kind of have different feels for how much is important. And with Dakota, I've learned that what's most important to him is the fan artist's work. He really likes these gems and he wants them to pop. So we give it little border breaks like up here, like with unglued and unhinged sets. Not so much unstable. I wish they did that though. Beggars can't be choosers. I'm glad we got a third unstable set. Regardless, he likes little border breaks like that, and he likes big border breaks like you see with other custom magic card artists, like with MTG Proxy Guy. You see him do that a lot, or I need to learn his name, but he has this specific little box watermark that he likes to use a lot in his artworks. But they like border breaks as well. I like to move the card around a lot. Like we've done here, we've added a transparency to the text here. And like we've done with this predatory sliver, we've just moved his little text box down, same with the essence sliver. Magic cards, gorgeous, love them so much. But you want to preserve some of that communication, right? Because not everyone knows that essence sliver gives a pseudo version of lifelink. But they also don't need to know the flavor text, for example. We were able to save that here, but what will be most striking is this full, massive art, which is going to be gorgeous coming across the opponent's side of the field until you're being bashed to death with just countless sliver after countless sliver. It's pretty ridiculous. What I had in mind in particular for today is I wanted to create for us I wanted to make his general, or one of his commanders. This is a beautiful website, absolutely love it. The only downside is that until the set comes out, we can only have relatively low resolution versions of the cards. So we'll have to wait a little bit for that. Until that point, let's grab Sliver Hivelord. There's been a couple of arts that I've been looking at. But like I was saying, you want to consider what you want to do. If you want to preserve the feel of the magic card, like if I need this flavor text to exist, for example, then I'm going to have to be a lot more picky about what art I use. But if I care so much about the art that I can disregard most of the magic card itself, then I can go pretty much ham and choose whatever art fits the bill the best, right? So this is a 5-color gold card. It's a very powerful sliver. Dakota in particular wanted the strongest cards to be represented by a character called Padparadscha, this one. So I want to choose one that kind of fits the feel and flavor, which is why I like this art. Clearly you're not going to get a 1-to-1, right? This sliver is never going to look like one of these gems. But you can kind of get the color scheming down, right? I like Land of Illustrious because they do have rather dark arts, which fits the Sliver's motif really well. It'd be a little bit harder, for example, for like a Steven Universe deck. I made one of those, and hopefully I'll get to show you guys at some point. But it would be a lot harder for that, because they use a lot more brighter colors. Like this one in it, for example, a lot lighter than the Sliver Hivelord is. So what you want to do is you want to bring this guy in first. We'll probably just close out some of these guys, and we'll get into more detail of what we do and stuff as we go along. So we're going to speed through some of parts of this, and which case I'll just like layer the music up forward and whatnot. I might even not even know that. But not everything is the most interesting thing in the world. But very first and foremost thing is you want to get another layer up in there, and doing that just kind of helps you play around with what you're doing. Layers are your friend. The more layers you have, the better things work out for you, generally speaking. Now, I know I didn't do it so well there, but I like to preserve these little pin lines. It just helps me keep the art grounded. I think Wizards did a wonderful job at designing these borders in particular. I think the standard magic card, it's been a progression. I really, really love the feel of old magic cards, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to doing custom magic cards, nothing, I think, works better than the new stuff, the standard stuff. Now you're gonna have to kind of you want to do nice even transformations. You don't want to like take this art and make her super wide, or make him super thin, I guess stout either. You just want to do a nice, bring it out a little bit, try and get the largest version, of course, that you can. Because that's going to preserve your pixels per square inch as much as possible. We're not working with vector art, which is unfortunate and okay at the same time. Vector would make things different. I've done a little bit of work with that. Oh, this is going to come out really gorgeous, and it's not going to require a lot of work on our end, which is wonderful. That's kind of where you want to be with a lot of these. Oh, yes. Absolutely gorgeous. So, you want to look at the art, and you want to consider the different layerings of itself. So, we're probably going to have that beautiful little lotus flower that this beautiful artist has done, and keep that in the back. And we're going to pull her legs forward. And this is probably where we're going to do the most speed up, so I'll get back with you in a second.
Just let the band play on. Touch it, touch it. Touch it. Touch it. Touch it. Touch it. Touch it. Go for the kill. Be something real. Dance in the rain. Go take it inside. Turn up the flame, burn up again. I'm not ashamed. I'll let the flames rise. All I wanna do is touch you, baby.
Alright, jumping back in here, we've got our lower legs highlighted, as you can see. You want the highlight going, that's unfortunate. Or most of the way, anyways. Okay, we'll just grab just a little bit of those pants real quick, or shorts. Thighs kind of splooge out a little bit. That happens when you sit down. Okay, cool. So got that all taken care of. Wonderful. So then you just do a little copy of those. Come up, add a layer. Bam. No whole ton change, but bam. Look at that. Now we have her sitting on the border of our magic card. We probably want just a little bit more of that leg. Actually. This is the trickiest part, if I do say so myself, just because it can take some little finagling. You never really fully know when it's finished, until it obviously is. Now, this person's put some stripes, some blacking around the legs, so we'll just come in here. Grab a little bit more of that cheek. Place right there. Lovely. Lovely. And it can, looking at the little card, you might not notice the tiniest of details, and that's fine. But I feel like that's one of the biggest changes between when I first was beginning and now, and that's just the tiny little details really start to bother you. You'll notice individual pixels on sidebars and things like that. They kind of, it's nothing really. It just kind of, just that little irk knowing, ooh, if only that were just a tiny bit more perfect. Alright, cool. So we're going to make this layer invisible for just a second, and we're going to change the opacity on this text box. That way we can see the rest of this glorious little piece. Because really, it deserves to be seen. Now, if there is one little gripe that I have ever had, it's the little jewel on the bottom here. I'm not a huge fan of this, not because wizards shouldn't be protecting their little cards and their own little printings and stuff like that. Absolutely, they should. Because people with less scruples than myself would just make this $50-$60 card and try and pass it off to some kids. Although I've gotten pretty close to recreating this jewel, I'm not perfect, and I don't want to be. This is for casual Cuban commanders. This ain't meant for people who are looking to steal and make a quick buck. I know this game can be expensive, yes, and I have no qualms with you playing proxies for tabletop games with you and a few buddies. If you want to proxy up some Black Lotuses and play some fake vintage, then go ham. But, that was the wrong layer. But, don't go to tournaments and try to pull fast ones on judges. Just, what are you doing? Look at your life and see where it's gone. Cheating at magic is one of the sadder, lowlier things. Okay, so you may notice this is kind of like a cheap way of going about it. There's much, maybe not much, but there are better ways to preserve the text, for example, of the creature card. It's quite a bit more faded, obviously, but the black still comes through really good. I have, if the image is really bright and the on black cards, this can be a little bit more of an issue where the black of the actual text itself doesn't come through as much. I do have a knockoff Belerian font. It passes And again, we're not looking to fool a judge, right? So we don't have to be like the best proxies on planet Earth. I'm not looking to make Library of Alexandria's. I want to make Sliver Hivelord look like Padparadscha from Land of Illustrious. And if that's what you want, then I can certainly help with that. Whether you want, you just want to leave a comment of what kind of cards and decks you want to see made, or whether or not you want to commission me, or whether or not this inspires you to go off and make more. All of those are perfectly fine and wonderful, as at least as I view it, the more beautiful cards there are in the world, the better. Anyway, so this Balerian Seraph, it's pretty close. I got this from, many people probably already know this website. It's Magic Card Generator, I believe it is. See, it's a little bit fatter than actual Magic cards are. Like, far from perfect. But it does the job pretty well. I'm sure there's better ones, and if you know of any better ones, then hit me up. Because I would love to just create better and better content. But I don't mind the transparency. I think it looks nice. It kind of reminds me of what they do now instead of textless cards, white text cards, and I think it all comes together in a pretty good format anyways. So here's pretty much the finished deal. It didn't take us too long. There may be more, there may be less talking in other episodes. But Sliver Hivelord as Padparadscha. Can't wait to see this deck finished. Hopefully I'll have it out in a month. Again, this is the first of hopefully a long running series that I get to go with you guys on a delightful adventure through Draw Go, the casual way to play Magic.
Touch.